Today I'm going to talk about 5 Claude AI side hustles that you can actually run while working a full-time job. And if you're bracing for another generic list that you could have Googled in 10 seconds, stick with me. Because I didn't just research this one, I lived it. I was a pharmacist, multiple 6 figures in student loan debt, all for a job that I hated by month 3. And I didn't have time to build my way out. I had a lunch break, so that's where I did it. 1 hour a day in the back of the store, then I'd build on Saturdays and Sundays, and that thing that I built on my lunch break has made me over $10 million. And I've helped hundreds of people since do the exact same thing. People I've worked with have generated over $100 million in revenue between them, and almost none of them quit their main job first. They all were able to start this on the side. So that's what you're gonna be getting. All 5 of these, what it is, what it actually pays, and exactly where Claude does the heavy part so that it fits the hours that you actually have. Now, some of these can clear 6 figures, some made their first dollar in the same week, and one of them out-earned a $90,000 salary while she was still clocking into that job every Monday. So whether you're a nurse or a healthcare professional, or you're later on in your career, or you have a high-earning corporate job, or you're a marketing manager quietly making somebody else rich, or you're just getting started in your career, there's gonna be one in here built for exactly where you're standing. And every one of these is gonna have a real named person with a real receipt as well. So if you appreciate me making this type of content and you want me to make more of it in the future, then let me know by gently cheersing that like button, and let's jump into it right now. Okay, so let's start with the obvious one, which is building an AI app without coding. And I know you've probably heard this one a bunch of times before, but I'm gonna tell you how to do it in a way that's actually much more likely to lead you to success. Because the truth is, you have an exceptionally low percentage chance of success building an app. It's even lower than most businesses out there. But there's a certain way of doing it that increases your probability of success significantly. So basically, you don't have to know how to code to do this. You basically just describe what you want in plain English and Claude writes the actual software. So you're not learning to code, you're just learning to describe. And this guy right here, Max, built 28 apps in 8 months, and all of them were entirely built around his day job.
In just 8 months, he shipped 28 apps and went from $200 a month to $10,000 a month, all while working his full-time job.
Now he's an iOS engineer and a father of 2, and he was still employed the whole time. And his record was 1 app shipped in 2 hours. We're talking idea to app store in 2 hours, pretty good. And he uses Claude to map the screens and features, then reuses about 90% of the code between the apps. And 4 of them carry about $1,500 a month each, and he's making about $10,000 a month total, on about $300 a month in costs. So yeah, this is a really smart way of doing it. He didn't go all in on one app and hope that it worked. He built 28 separate ones, knowing that most of them were gonna fail, but a few of them had some success, caught on, and they're making in total over $10,000 a month. And if you think Max pulled that off because he was already an engineer, well, go ahead and watch this. There's a channel called Mikey No Code, and the video is literally titled How Claude Code Built a $10,000 App Without Me Coding.
But if I told you that I used AI to copy an app from the App Store while I sat back and gave it simple prompts.
Then there's Code with Beto, who walks a complete beginner through building their first app in Claude Code with no experience needed.
People with zero coding experience are building and shipping real applications right now.
But now you're probably thinking, okay, Shane, but that's gonna take a lot of time for me to make. Well, this same guy built one in 20 minutes. 20 minutes, yeah. That video is 20 minutes long and the app is done by the end of it. And one of my own employees built an app using Claude. You know, you might know the app Whisperflow, for instance. This is the one where you talk instead of type, and he built something that works like it, and he is not a coder and he doesn't know anything about coding, but he built it anyways. So can you run this while working full time? Well, Max literally did, with 2 kids and a full-time engineering job. And many of these apps that he shipped, he was able to do them in 20 minutes to 2 hours, not 6 months. So that's a Saturday afternoon, not an entire career change. Now, I'll be honest with you, probably the smartest way to do this is to clone an app that already makes money and then just modify it a little bit. And that's exactly what this guy does right here. Now, you can watch the video if you want to, but basically he just finds apps that are already working and then he makes them 1% better and 1% different. And he's making over $400,000 a year doing this. Now, if you do this, your probability of success is going to go up tremendously. Now, just to be very clear, I am not telling you to copy other people's apps. Copy the idea of the app, but then change it to make it better and different. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually do this and how Claude does the heavy part. Don't open Claude and say, build me an app. Make Claude interview you first. Tell it to ask you questions. What the app does, who it's for, what the one core feature is, what you already know, if you already have an app that you want to use as proof of concept, etc., etc. And do all this before it writes a single line. Once it has that, it maps out every screen and writes the code, and you're the one with the idea and the taste. but it's the one doing the typing. So this is really important to not skip this. I've done some incredible work with Claude. For instance, I've created a bunch of different AI software that people inside my community that are building personal brands and growing on YouTube use to solve just about every single YouTube related problem there is. And this is exactly how I made that software, right? I literally just have an AI interview me and I give it as much context as it possibly needs, right? So it might ask for different context, it might ask me to get stuff and then upload it into Claude. And I do that over and over again until it has enough context to give me a really good answer and a really good output. So here's the Claude prompt. I'm gonna go ahead and put this up on the screen. What you can do is you can just screenshot it if you want to, and then literally just copy and paste it into Claude.
Quick break. I'm going to be doing a live training this week on how to start YouTube step-by-step for beginners. This is going to be for people who want to start a channel, but they don't know what niche to pick, what videos to make, or how to actually get started the right way. And it's a completely free training, no strings attached. In fact, I'm giving away even more bonuses at this training. Just as an example, I'm going to be giving away my niche validator, which works for ChatGPT, as well as Claude Skills, which is a super valuable piece of software where you can finally figure out what the best niche for you is. So do not miss out on this training. Make sure you sign up for it down in the description and the pinned comment below, because you only get it if you join the training. So if you don't join now, you might miss out on it forever. But that being said, in the workshop, you'll get to meet me and you'll get to ask me questions directly. So I look forward to seeing you. So click the link in the description and the pinned comment below this week. Make sure you put it on your calendar. And if for whatever reason you missed out on it or you weren't able to attend, make sure you still click that link, because we might be having workshops in the future as well, and you'll be the first to know about it. So yeah, hope to see you there. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
All right, the next side hustle to make money with Claude is teaching what you already know. So in many cases, you might already be explaining the same things over and over again. People that you teach, or people that you tutor, or people that you coach, and you get paid once for it, or maybe you just don't even get paid at all. So instead of explaining it over and over again, record it one time instead and get paid every time somebody watches. Now, you might be thinking, I'm not an expert at anything, Shane. Well, you don't have to be an expert at something else. You can just teach what you already do. So a teacher named Lisa Collum, for instance, took the writing curriculum that she already used in her own classroom, put 5 copies into 5 binders from an office supply store with the last $99 in her account, and sold it to other schools. And that side hustle passed her $40,000 teaching salary in 4 years, and it now does $1.9 million a year. And that number is profit, not revenue. I checked. Now you might be thinking, Shane, this is way too basic for anyone to pay. Well, another channel called English with Lucy teaches basic grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. And this channel makes $10,000 to $29,000 a month from AdSense alone. And I happen to know because I met Lucy as well as her husband at a business conference where they did a speech where they revealed that they're making over $400,000 a month. And a physics teacher in India named Alak Pandey started filming his lessons in a basement with a camera that I would generously describe as a potato. Yeah, the camera quality was really bad. You can barely even see the whiteboard, and he's blurry as well. But he built this YouTube channel up, and then he launched an app called Physicswallah, and that company now has a $5.2 billion valuation. And it all came from a physics teacher with a bad camera in a basement. So can you run this while working full time? Well, you're already doing the teaching, you're just doing it one person at a time for free, and recording is the only thing that changes. Now here's how Claude does the heavy lifting. Write down the 10 questions that people ask you most at work. Work does seem to be the most common one, but you can also write down other questions, like if you coach people, or patient, client, or customer questions that you get, or questions that you get from students or your kids, etc., etc. And a lot of the times you don't want to focus on the interesting ones, you really want to focus on the boring ones, the ones that make you sigh. And that sigh is a signal because a question that you're sick of answering is a question that thousands of people are probably still typing into a search bar. And you can give Claude the 10, have it rank them by how many people are actually looking for that answer, and have it write the first script in your own words. So here's the Claude prompt. I'll put it up on the screen. You can go ahead and copy and paste it into Claude, and then just go ahead and get started. And by the way, there's so many other ways of monetizing this. Obviously, you can make money directly from YouTube or any other social media platform that you promote this with. YouTube is the best one by far. You can promote it on other platforms as well. And you could sell some sort of digital product or something like that, kind of like the teachers that we talked about before. But there's honestly so many different ways to monetize this. You know, Physicswallah did an app, English with Lucy sells digital products, the teacher named Lisa Collum sold physical products, etc., etc. There's so many different ways to monetize this. And this brings us to the next one, which is guiding people in their decision making. So you already made a decision that a lot of people are about to make, and you already know how it turned out. They don't, and that gap is worth the money. So a community member of ours named Isaiah Harris was about to get laid off from his job. He found my free content, came to one of my live trainings, and asked his question and got the answer that he needed to start. Now he teaches experienced vocalists like singer-songwriters, worship leaders, recording artists, vocal warm-ups, how to basically sing like a pro. And in 2 months, he gained 8,000 subscribers on a brand new channel and made $32,000 in pure profit. Now, you might be thinking that nobody would take advice from you specifically. Well, there's a guy called Kevin Hunter, the homework guy, and he spent his career around car dealerships. And now he just tells people how to not get destroyed buying a car. And he has 460,000 subscribers, and he is not selling cars. He's telling you what he learned from the other side of the desk.
Finance office files. The fake discount.
And he also has a website where you can book a call with him and he can talk to you about what you should and shouldn't do before buying a car. And another good example of this is basically me, right? I worked as a pharmacist, and on the side, I taught people how to pick a college degree and how to pick the right career. The best ones, the worst one, how to choose a school without getting scammed, and how to pick the right career path for yourself. That's something that you like, but also something that you're actually gonna be able to make money with, not just a hobby. And I did that because I went into debt for a job that I hated. And I wrote my scripts on my lunch break in the back of the pharmacy, and if things got slow and I had an hour, I'd go to the back and write. Then I'd record on the weekend. So basically lunch breaks and Saturdays. So can you run this while working full time? Well, I did it in the back of the pharmacy on my lunch break. Isaiah did it with a layoff coming. So you don't really need more time. You just need one decision that you already made. Now let's talk about how Claude does the heavy lifting. Write down the biggest decision that you've ever made, the degrees, the move, the career, the mortgage, the surgery. And if you want to, you can write several of them. Then write what you'd tell somebody standing exactly where you stood the day before you made it. And literally just pretend like you have a time machine and you could go back in time and tell the younger version of yourself what you would and wouldn't have done. What would you tell them? And that's the thing that you needed that nobody gave you. And Claude is going to turn it into a script, and you supply the scar and the story and the lesson and the wisdom. So here's a Claude prompt. Just screenshot it and put it into Claude and follow the prompts, and it might come up with some really good stuff for you. Now, by the way, if you want to know exactly how we help people like Isaiah grow and make money on his YouTube channel so quickly from absolute scratch, I actually have a live training this week where I'm going to teach you step by step exactly how to do it. And I'm going to be giving you an AI that helps you pick your niche or dial it in. And this AI has been trained on thousands of hours of us helping our clients do this. So it's completely free. Click that link in the description in the pinned comment below, and I look forward to seeing you there. All right, next is going to be selling AI agents to businesses. And I call this the hired robot. So you build a small automation that does one repetitive job that a business is currently paying a human to do. Then you charge them a fraction of what that human costs. Now you might be thinking that you need to be technical for this. Well, Nate Herc sold 4 AI agents for $23,000 as a beginner, and you might be thinking that it takes real money to start. Well, 2 guys, ALO and Powers, spent $185 total building an AI tool called Dime a Dozen, and it made $66,000 in 7 months, and then they sold it for $150,000. And that income was verified by documents reviewed by CNBC Make It. It's not a screenshot, but actual documents. So can you run this while working full time? Well, absolutely yes. But my best piece of advice is to go after businesses that already live online, not the pizza place down the street. That may work in the future, but right now it's probably best to just go after the online ones. And that's really the difference between the people who make money at this and the people who make videos about it. Now here's how Claude does the heavy lifting. Pick one repetitive task that you already watched somebody do badly at your own job. Sorting inbound emails, chasing invoices, writing the same 5 replies. That can be your product because you already know exactly what it's worth and exactly who hates doing it. And then have Claude build the automation or write the pitch, and then charge monthly, not hourly. Here's the Claude prompt. You can go ahead and screen cap it, copy and paste it into Claude, and let it interview you. Now, my second piece of advice is a little bit different, and that is literally just look at what people are already buying, and then do very similar to that, just do it a little bit different. So if plumbers are already buying websites, then sell websites to plumbers, but just do it differently or do it better than your competitors. Because when somebody else is already doing something, that is proof that it's working, and you really want to have proof of concept. So the next one is explaining the system that you work inside. And this is the one that nobody thinks of, right? You don't teach people how to do your job, you explain the system that your job lives inside. Because to everyone standing outside of it, that system is terrifying. So you already speak the language, you know which doors to knock on, and you know what the form actually means. Now you might be thinking you've never made a video in your life. And a community member of ours, Nurse Jen, is a registered nurse, and she is still working in healthcare right now today. And in her exact words, she said, I hadn't dipped my toe into YouTube. And less than 2 months later, she was at a full-time income from this, and that is before the affiliate deals and the brand deals stacked on top. And so she basically went from 0 to a full-time income in just a couple months. And you might be thinking, well, that's just a one-time thing. Well, actually, Nurse Julie also joined our program. She spent 33 years in nursing, and she spent over 20 years with an autoimmune illness that nobody could diagnose. So she has both halves, the clinical training, and she was the patient that everyone else gave up on. And one of her videos crossed 100,000 views in just 2 months. And you might be thinking, oh, well, I guess healthcare-related careers are super easy. Nope, we have people that have done this in IT, cybersecurity, digital marketing, accounting and finance, and all kinds of other related careers as well. This is like a freaking cheat code. So can you run this while working a full-time job? Of course you can. Now let's talk about how Claude can do the heavy lifting. Think of the last time somebody outside of your industry asked you something and you had to stop yourself from saying, everyone knows that. The thing is, they don't. That's the whole business. Write down 5 things that everyone at your job assumes is obvious and film the one that would make an outsider angry if they found out. Claude can turn each one into a script, and you just have to stop assuming that it's common knowledge. Because for you, it's common knowledge, but for everyone else outside of your job, it likely isn't. You can go ahead and screenshot this one, copy and paste it into Claude, have it interview you, and that'll be a really good starting spot. With that being said, if you want to learn how Nurse Jen and all the other people that I just showed you were able to grow and make money on YouTube with their personal brands, I'm going to be revealing the entire thing in the live training that I'm doing this week. So click that link in the description in the pinned comment below to check that out. Do not miss out on it. I can't promise I'm going to be doing it in the future, because the truth is all of these side hustles work, but they all need one thing, and that is traffic. They all need distribution. And YouTube is the best form of traffic and distribution that exists on the internet. Now, I know that 99% of you are just gonna watch this video, get a ton of value out of it. You're gonna attend my live trainings, get a ton of value out of that as well. And we're never gonna end up working together one-on-one, and that is completely okay. I like to give way more value than I receive, and I'm more than happy to do that. With that being said, there's gonna be 1% of you out there, maybe 0.1% of you out there that wants that one-on-one mentorship, that one-on-one hand-holding experience so you can get to your goals as fast as possible with the least amount of time, effort, and money. Or you literally just want us to personalize it to you, do the work for you, and tell you exactly what to do. So if that sounds like you, go ahead and click the link in the description in the pinned comment below to book a call. But only book a call if you're very serious about growing and making money on YouTube. The types of people we typically work with are professionals, typically people who are experts, or they have a lot of experience and they're on the older side, and they have a lot of value to give the world, and they have a lot of wisdom to share. But we also work with business owners that want to get leads and make more revenue from YouTube and also grow their brand. We also work with YouTubers who are getting a lot of views, but they're struggling with monetization, YouTubers who are crushing it, but they want to crush it even harder, and then people who have big social media followings on other platforms, but they want to move over to YouTube because they know that YouTube is where the money's at. So if that sounds like you, click that link in the description in the pinned comment below. But we can only onboard about 5 people right now, and we have an 18% acceptance rate. So again, only do it if you're very serious about growing and making money on YouTube. With that being said, check out this video right here where we talk about exactly how we helped Isaiah grow and make money on his YouTube channel, even when he was about to get fired from his job.